Hi friends, welcome to My Sew Bliss. Today I'm partnering up with Baby Lock sewing machines and bringing you another sewing tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make a t-shirt like this that has this faux embroidered look on it. It's super fun. There's so many ways you can do this and ways you like things you can put on it that I think it's just a really cool and unique idea. So I'm going to be also using my Baby Lock Sashiko, which is what gave this hand-like stitching around it. It's this machine right here. It is incredible and I have so much fun with it. Putting it on all the projects, on shirts, bags, clothing, quilts. Like I want it on everything because it just adds that really fun pop and extra touch. So I'm going to be using that machine as well as a regular sewing machine. The other supplies that you're going to need, I just used a basic t-shirt that I found online, and then I had some rib knit fabric. This is stretchy. It is stretchy fabric. Stretch is pretty good one direction, but the other direction doesn't have a ton of stretch. If it's a tight t-shirt, I highly recommend having knit fabric so that it will stretch with your fabric as well and won't have any fit issues. If it's a looser fabric, you could use a cotton fabric or a non-stretchy fabric, but if you're doing it on a t-shirt, it's going to be a lot more comfortable and fit a lot better with a stretchy fabric underneath. So that's how I got this red, was using this exact fabric. And then you're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil to get your design drawn out as well. That's how I did it. You could also print something out. I mean, you could even have like your kids draw something, as long as it is like a bubble letter or a bubble design and you can cut out around it. It would be a really cool t-shirt for any occasion. So let's get started making our faux embroidered t-shirts. For our first step, you're going to take a regular piece of printer paper or thinner if you have thinner paper. I just have this printer paper, so that's what I'm going to use. And write your words or letters out. So I'm making a 4th of July shirt, so I just wrote USA on it. It did take me a few tries. You can see like I wanted to get the S nicely, or I was playing around with the different shaping of the A. But I like to write bubble letters, so played around with that. Another option is to print off bubble letters from like a computer or your phone and use those, just sewing around those. But I like the option. I think it's fun to draw it out. Also using a ruler helps, making sure they're all lined up, all the same size. If you're doing like a word, making sure the spacing's all similar. So just some things to think about when you're doing this. I have it how I like it. So I'm going to get it placed on the t-shirt, and then I'm going to take the fabric that I want. So I want my letters to be red in the end. So I have this long strip of fabric. I think I just got it from a thrift store or something. It's like a ribbing knit. So it has like a lot of stretch around the body, but up and down it doesn't have a ton, which I think will work out really well. And it's like just the perfect size. So that's going to be great. I'm going to cut it a little bit bigger than what my paper is so that it's ready to go. If I can find my scissors. And I'll show you how I place this in the shirt as well as the paper. Okay, so that piece right there is going to be perfect. If I wanted to, I could square this up, but I mean, we can cut it out later too. So I have my piece of paper, and I'm going to take my shirt and figure out where I want it on my shirt. I just want it like a couple inches down from my neckline. I definitely want it centered on the shirt. I think this is going to be a really good placement here. And I'm going to just leave it for a second. Just kind of eyeball it right now, because then I want to take my piece of fabric and I'm going to go underneath the shirt and place it right underneath where that paper is. So try not to move it too much, but I want to make sure that that piece of fabric is laying completely flat. So actually, if I want to move that and just get this in place. Okay, and I want to make sure it's even. I can kind of feel it through the shirt, which is nice. So here's kind of the outline of it. So I know exactly where it is, and I want to make sure there's no wrinkles either. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to place my paper on top of it, and if it's in the right spot, I can pin it in place. I think I want it a little moved down, just a smidge, as well as over. So just mess with it for a minute. This is probably one of the most important parts, is to get it in the right position. So take your time doing this. And when you have it in a spot that you like, I'm going to pin through the paper, the shirt, and the red fabric underneath. I'm just going to pin through the front of the shirt, not the back of the shirt. And I am keeping the paper there. I like to sew through the paper so that I make sure to give a super nice look and that my stitching looks good. And so I'm going to get that ready to go. Here I have it all pinned. I did use quite a few pins, and especially in the letters, around the letters, because I want to make sure that that red fabric underneath stays laying flat and there's nothing that's going to fold in and get stitched on weird, or get messed up underneath, because it is going to be moved around a lot and harder to see as we're stitching. So I just want to make sure beforehand that it looks good. You could even look on the inside. See this piece right here? That corner can like flap in and could get stitched down into a letter, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna actually take that piece, that corner, and put a pin right there in this corner, so I make sure that lays flat and it's not going to get in my way. So just make sure that inside fabric is laying really nice and flat, and this is all ready to go. So now we can take it over to a regular sewing machine. At the regular sewing machine, I'm just going to do a very small, so about 2, maybe like 1.5 in stitch length, and that's going to make it a lot easier to rip out the paper as well. If you've ever done foundation paper piecing, that's kind of the idea I'm going for here, is just that I can rip the paper away easily afterwards. I'm also using a blue thread to match the shirt to kind of blend in, and then I'm going to go back in with my Sashiko and do stitching around it to make a really cool effect and really make those letters pop. So I think that'll be fun. So I'm just going to take this. If your machine, I love when the machine, like this part can come off and then I don't have to worry about it being like too tight in here, but I think because it's such a loose shirt, I'm okay. If you're doing a smaller shirt or a tighter area, that's nice that you can take that off. But I'm gonna just make sure everything is laying flat underneath. So I feel like some of that red is still bending over. So I'm just gonna keep checking on it as I sew. Make sure everything's laying flat. There's no wrinkles or puckers or anything weird going on underneath. But I'm just stitching right along the top of my letters, and I'm just going to follow what I drew. And then I cut my threads and I can go on to the next letter. And this is a great time to also check and make sure that everything underneath is still laying flat. Oh, that's looking good. So you can see how the stitching looks from this side a lot better, but you can also see none of these corners got caught. That's what I was worried about. So now I'm going to continue on to the S and the A. Once you are done with your stitching, we can take the paper off. One thing I want to note is if you had an A, make sure you do that centerpiece, unless you don't want it. But I do want it. I think I'm going to try and leave the blue t-shirt as the center and see how that looks. So now your paper should easily start ripping off like this, if it already hasn't, because of that very small stitching that we did. So I'm going to take all the paper off, and if it gets stuck in some places, you can get like a seam ripper and use the tip of it to help get that paper out of there. Just rub it with like an eraser too, especially on those seams. Sometimes it gets stuck in there, but it's not too hard to get out. So once the paper's out, you can see your stitching looking really good. I think this is gonna be so fun. Now we're gonna take some small, really sharp scissors and very carefully, the inside of your letters, we're gonna cut away just the t-shirt, and we're gonna cut right to the stitching. Don't cut through the stitching, just right to it. So the hardest part is really just getting that top layer at first, but you could go, one hand goes underneath, it could pull that red away, or a lot of times if I just pinch it right here, I can get a little piece of it, and then I just do a little clip. Maybe if these scissors are sharp enough, I might need sharper scissors, and then I can slide that blade in there and cut away the blue to reveal our red. So now I can more easily get to this. And we're just going to go slow so we don't accidentally cut our red fabric or whatever fabric you have underneath, and don't cut your stitching either. Once you've done all your trimming, another thing that I like to do is just go on the inside and trim some of the excess red out, so that way you don't have as much bulk. No one likes extra fabric, especially when it's already hot outside. Okay, and one thing I also did on the outside is I went around and really cleaned up the edges, and that's definitely going to help so it looks really nice. And this fabric, well, this t-shirt kind of is shedding a little more, but I feel like once it's washed, it'll clean it up even more and look so nice. So you can stop there if you want. One thing that I thought would be super fun and add a really nice touch was to use my Baby Lock Sashiko and stitch around the outside of each letter. Another idea I thought would be really cool, and I don't know if I'm going to do it. Let me know in the comments if I should or if I shouldn't, is to add stitching that looks like fireworks. I thought that'd be really fun. So just another option or idea for you guys. Some fun summer t-shirts. So let's get out the Baby Lock Sashiko and do some stitching. Okay, we have the Baby Lock Sashiko out, and this is going to do a really fun stitching for us, make it look like hand stitching. And I just thought it would be fun to outline our letters to add a little more pop to it. So I'm just going to go in between the layers and just go one letter at a time and outline it. Okay guys, once you are done with any extra stitching you want on it, then you are all done with your faux embroidered t-shirt. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I think it's such a fun way to dress up and have a creative time with a t-shirt and make it a little more unique and tailored to your style and what you like. I love how the Sashiko stitching looks on here. I think that is so fun. So just a great t-shirt. Let me know if you think I should add more stitching on it, maybe fireworks or some other design, maybe something on the back. I don't know. What do you guys think? So hope this was helpful. If you have any comments or questions, make sure to leave them down below in the comments. Also make sure to subscribe for more sewing tutorials, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.